What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to our player ratings video here on Anfield Agenda after Liverpool have beaten Wolves by 2-1, a result that very much was a game of two halves. Wolves came back into it in the second half and deservedly got some praise for their performance, but thankfully we've seen it out. So I'm going to go through, give the referee, the players, the substitutes and the manager all a score out of 10. As always, you'll see two images. The big square is my score and the one in the upper right hand corner of every player image is the Anfield Agenda audience average. Feel free to play along at home in the comments section. Do please drop a like if you enjoyed the video. But most importantly, look up at the top corner. We are now just 640 subscribers away from 300,000. If you can help us out by hitting that subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated. And of course, we are being brought to you today with thanks to our incredible sponsors, Manscaped. Check out the Chairman Pro Package face shaving kit or anything else at manscaped.com and treat yourself to 20% off. That is 20% off and free shipping store-wide at manscaped.com with a code Anfield20. Use that at checkout or the QR code in the bottom right-hand corner. Right, let's start off with the referee today. And you know what? You're not going to hear me say this too often, but I think he had a brilliant game. Honestly, that is one of my, I don't want to say favourite refereeing performances because I don't want to be favouriting referees, but I think he did nothing wrong whatsoever in that game. I think he got all the big calls right. I think it was absolutely the right decision to overturn the Diogo Jota penalty incident. I thought the bookings were all more than justified as well. And, you know, I'm happy to criticise referees when they get it wrong, but I'm also happy to say well done. So for me, Simon Hooper gets a score of 8, one of the better refereeing performances I've seen this season at Anfield. Craig Houlden had a good one recently as well. The Anfield Agenda audience give Mr. Hooper an average of 6.8. So let us know what you think in the comment section. Next up, Alisson Becker. Look, one-on-one, he's the best in the world, in my opinion. Those saves that he makes when players are clean through on goal, I don't think there's anybody better. But there is one aspect to his game that's making me a little bit nervy lately, and that's his lack of catching balls when they get put into the penalty area. Now, look, sometimes a hand, a fist is what's needed, but there's a couple of occasions lately I feel like he could be plucking them out of the air, and he's coming out with two-handed punches. And today, one of those incidents ended up in a free kick to Wolves right in the edge of our box from the second ball. And I just wish, you know, he can help take the pressure off a little bit by catching those for me. I'm nitpicking. He's still the best in the world. Glad to see when he went down with that cut in his leg, he was able to continue. So for me today from Alisson, I've gone for a score of 8. And the average Anfield Agenda score is 7.3. Let me know what you think. Next up, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I don't think it was a good performance from Trent, to be honest with you. He didn't have a stinker or anything like that, but I don't really think he impacted the game too well. He had a little bit of joy with some one-on-one defending, like Nuri piling down his side, and I thought Trent made a couple of good challenges there. But again, it was no secret today. You could see that Wolves, like many other teams, have been targeting us in behind our fullbacks, and I thought we looked a little bit more secure when Conor Bradley came on. So for me today from Trent, and I don't know if it's a form thing, if it's distracted, just not really been great lately. So I've given Trent today a score of 6. And the Anfield Agenda audience have gone a bit lower with an average score of 5.6. Next up, Kanade. Look, how many times have you heard me speak about him giving away free kicks and how he gets too tight and he gets himself into advanced positions and he's wrong-sided players? Today, Arne Slot was left with no choice but to take him off at half-time because he was probably one foul away from being sent off. And I think Simon Hooper was perfectly within his rights to give him the yellow card when he did. He said it was for an accumulation of fouls. I also don't think there was anything more than a free kick to be given to Wolves for the incident after that where Wolves tried to get him sent off. It was just a foul. It wasn't even a bad one. So I think it was the right decision by Arne Slot, but Ibu needs to clean that up because we know what a good defender he is. But stop giving away such silly free kicks. So I've given him a score of 5 today because he had to be taken off at half-time. Next up, our captain, Virgil van Dijk. Look, very good in that first half. Cut out everything that came into the penalty area. Pretty good in the second half as well, but, you know, I'd like us to start keeping some more clean sheets. And, you know, it was a good finish from Cunha, not taken away from him whatsoever, but, excuse me, I think we need to just start keeping clean sheets. Simple as that. I thought Virg did lead the line well today, though. Second half was a worrying performance all around, but I've given Virgil a 7, and the Anfield Agenda audience, pretty similar, with a 6.9. Andy Robertson, this one has me so confused, because I don't think he had a particularly good game. Sky have given him man of the match, And I'm really eager to see what the average score has been, because for me, I thought Andy Robertson had an error-filled game there today. He was a bit better in the second half when we were under pressure. He did make a couple of good challenges, but I just think he's just not at his level. And I wasn't impressed today, in all honesty. So I have given Andy Robertson a score of 6.5, and the audience have gone lower than me with a score of 5.8. I honestly do not know where Sky gave him man of the match from. I'm baffled by it. But let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I mean, I've gone higher than the audience, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Next up, Ryan Gravenberch. Tiredness starting to come in now, and this is why you've got people like me moaning in the summer, moaning in the winter, in the transfer window, because we don't really have the option there to give him much of a breather. And as good as he is and continues to be, with the games coming thick and fast now over the next few weeks until the international break, I'm concerned that we're going to run this guy into the ground. So, decent performance today, but second half, we weren't able to stem the flow of Wolves, and they were coming through the midfield too quickly. So, for me today, giving him a 7, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a 6.6 for Ryan Gravenberch. Next up, Alexis McAllister. He probably looks the most fatigued to me of all the midfielders. And I wonder, is there an argument maybe to go to Villa and go with Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and Jones for that one, and rest Maka up for the away game against Manchester City? Yeah, that's my thoughts on him. He just looks fatigued. We know what a quality player he is. There's no doubt about that. Today, I've given him a score of 6.5, and the Anfield Agenda audience, quite similar, with an average score of 6.6. Let me know your thoughts on Maka. Dominic Szoboszlai was your Anfield Agenda man of the match, and I have no argument with that whatsoever. There were two players today that I thought were brilliant, and they were Dominic Szoboszlai and Luis Diaz. Szoboszlai covers every inch of that pitch, and his layoff for the move that ended up in Jota being brought down for the penalty and it being correctly overturned, that layoff set it all up. Just put it right into the path of Gravenberch, who ran at the defence, slipped it into Jota, and you know the rest. But I think he's coming into his own. Had a couple of strikes in the first half as well. Pulled one just wide of the keeper's right-hand post. I think he's becoming the player we all hoped he would, and I thought he was great today. So I've given him an 8.5, and the Anfield Agenda audience with a 7.3. Mohamed Salah. Look, let's be honest about this. He should have been taken off for the last 10 to protect himself and to give him a breather. He scored his penalty and took it remarkably well again. Brilliant penalty today from Mo. So unlucky, he was just offside for the second one, but the finish was sublime from the edge of the box into the corner, and also played a part as well in the penalty that we did win in the first half. It's just, for me, I just want him getting breathers every now and again, because I think fresh legs there today, Chiesa giving us just an outball down the right channel, would have helped us, but certainly Mohamed Salah is still contributing in a big way to this team. And today I've given the great man a score of 8, the audience going for a 7.4. Luis Diaz, brilliant. Much, much better out on that left-hand side. Looked so much more at home. Obviously showed great bravery as well for the goal that he took. Won the penalty as well for Mohamed Salah's goal. And I thought he was flying. One of the best performances out on that left side from him this season. Going to be a real tough one now for Arne Slot to decide. You know, does Gakpo come back in, or does he stick with Lucho? Especially because he brought Lucho off and gave him a breather as well. And I understand that, because in the second half we didn't have control of the game like we did in the first. But I just want to again reiterate, I thought it was a really, really good performance from Lucho today. So I've given him an 8.5, same as Dominic Szoboszlai. And the audience have gone a bit lower with a 7.6, which is still a respectable score. Now we move on to Diogo, who immediately gets docked a point for the dive. And it was a dive, make no mistake about it. He put his foot into the back of the player, looking to make contact there after the player had slid by, and I don't know why he did it. Maybe he lost his foot and I don't know, but he should have stayed on his feet and he would have had a finish or an easy layoff, and the game would have been done. And that moment for me was the turning point of that game, because 3-0 and it's out of sight and Wolves' hearts are gone, their heads are gone. 2-0, they find a way to get it to 2-1 and it becomes a very different game. And that little moment for me was the turning point that gave Wolves some, well, belief. So for that, I'm giving Diogo a score of 7, because I do think we looked better in the first half with him through the centre, and I think we looked far more fluid in attack. But, you know, we would have had an 8 if we didn't have that dive for me, and it was a dive, so no problem with the referee overturning it. The average score from the audience is a 6. Let me know what you think. Jarell Kwanzaa, faultless. Nothing bad to say at all. He was what we needed, and he came in and played like we needed. I thought he looked assured. I thought he made a great block as well when Wolves put a ball across the 6-yard box that could have been a tap in. And that is a performance that I hope Jarell he cowies it. I hope he carries that forward, and I was really happy with what I seen from when he came on. So well done, Jarell. I thought it was a good performance, and I'm going to give him a score of 7.5, and I think that's agreed with the Anfield Agenda audience, who come in with a 7.2. It was really good, especially in the second half when we were under the cosh. I thought Jarell did really, really well. Next up, another young man who came on and I thought did very well. Some great one-on-one defending, particularly right at the end there, where he was in one-on-one with a player who tried to go around the outside of him, and he managed to show strength to hold him off and not give away the corner as well. Won a free kick, if I'm not mistaken, as well out on that right side. So well done, Conor Bradley. Gave us that bit of fight we needed defending in the last few minutes. So well done to Conor. I've given him a 7, and the Anfield Agenda audience a little bit higher with a 7.2. Now we move on to Mr. Darwin Núñez. I don't have many good things to say today. You know, you always expect Darwin to at least defend from the front. And I thought he looked a bit more casual today than in other times. And look, he never looked like he was going to make a difference in that game. And you may feel I'm being harsh, but I really don't think he was very good at all when he came on. And he's only moving closer and closer to the exit door, in my opinion. We were much better with the Ogre through the middle. So I've given him a 5 for today, and the audience have pretty much similarly given him a 5.1. Now with Toro Endo, I don't think I've ever celebrated a free kick as much as I did when he won that one right at the end of the game. As much as he didn't have the ability to stem the tide on his own, I do think he made a difference when he came on. And I understand Arne sacrificing an attacker and putting him in, and I totally agree with the decision. I just wish we had managed the game a little bit better. But Waturo did himself no harm whatsoever when he came on, and giving him a score of 7.5, and the Anfield Agenda audience a 7.1. And last, the manager, Arne Slot. And I think he's got to be concerned with that second half today. And I think we've got to be honest as well and admit there are at least 2 or 3 players on that bench he just does not fancy bringing on. And this is why I keep talking about depth. No good having numbers if the manager doesn't trust those players. No Elliott again today. No Chiesa. Let's be honest and say he just doesn't trust them at this point. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, by the way, but, you know, they're not getting minutes. So these are spaces being taken up. The changes he made today, I thought, didn't really do the desired job. I thought you could have left DIAZ on and taken SALAH off. I thought DIAZ at least gave us an out ball. And there were little things that I think he needs to pick up and do better on. Namely, rotating more for some of these games, because that midfield looks weary. And you either have players you trust and you can rotate them, or you don't, and we admit that we don't have a deep enough squad. But today wasn't the best for me from Arne, and the most concerned I've been in the second half at Anfield. To be outpassed, outshot, you've got to find the reasons why that happened today, as well as, of course, giving Wolves credit. But for me today, I've given Arne a score of 6.5, and the Anfield Agenda audience a little bit higher with a score of 6.7. So that is the Anfield Agenda player ratings today, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's over to you to let us know your thoughts. Again, if you enjoy the video, drop a like on it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be back tonight at 8:30 for the late night agenda, where we'll be talking about transfers, we'll be talking about contracts, and picking the bones out of the game as well. So I hope you can join us for that. 8:30 tonight, a little bit earlier than the 8:45 we normally go. And I'll catch up with you guys soon. Thank you again to our sponsors, Manscaped. A quick reminder, you can get yourself 20% off and free shipping store-wide at manscaped.com. Whether it's the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra or anything else, use the code on screen there, Anfield20, at checkout. I'll catch up with you tonight. Much love. Bye-bye.